Welcome to Valley Viewpoint. I'm Roger Johnson. My guests are Heather Weimer and Larry Goodhue. Heather is the home and school leader at a school called Milton-Stateline Adventist School, and Larry is the board chair of the school. Welcome to both of you to Valley Viewpoint.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just had to have you here because I keep hearing about school beginning soon. And when does it start this year at Milton-Stateline Adventist School?
August 20 is our start date for our students this year, which is about our normal time. Between the 18th and the 20th is normally when we begin the school year.
And is there a reason that you figured out, Larry, why we start in August instead of later, maybe like after the fair? I'm just curious whether that's ever been figured out.
Yes, it mostly has to do with allowing school to end before the middle of June, which interferes with many graduations at the high school or college level for parents and the teachers as well.
Walla Walla University may start their summer program in the middle of June, so there needs to be some. So that's why it's not quite the same as the public system as a private school.
Yes, so we get out before they do in the summer.
Heather, why and how did you find out about Milton-Stateline Adventist School? How did you find out about this school? It's not on a main road. Who told you about it?
Well, when our kids got to the point where they were school age, we began researching options in the Valley. And one thing that was really, really important to us was Christian education. And my son came and he had a friend who was in public school at the time. And so his question was, well, if we're considering schools, why can't we consider the school that my friend goes to? And so I talked to him a little bit and said, more than us wanting you to excel grade-wise or get a great job someday, all those things are really good, but what we want the most ultimately is for him to be close to Jesus and to learn more about that. And so since you spend so many hours a day at school, it just made sense to us, since that was our main priority, to look at Christian schools. So we looked at the Christian schools that were available in the Valley, and thankfully there are several. And we chose Milton-Stateline partly because our oldest son is pretty quiet and has had challenges with starting to make friends and talking to people and all those things that can be kind of rough for some kids. And Milton-Stateline has just a really great atmosphere, from the teachers to the kids that go there. And when we visited, we felt really welcomed, and the kids engaged him, and we could tell right away that he felt more comfortable than some of the bigger places. And we were just really impressed by, like I said, by the spirit of everybody that was there. So that's partly why we chose the school.
Even without his friend there, he's been able to adapt. And
he is. And the funny part was that once I explained all that to him, he's a very analytical child, and he just kind of looked at me and went, oh, that makes a lot of sense. If that's your priority, then that makes sense.
So he found out through that interchange that there is a long view.
Absolutely.
A long view.
Yes.
That we're not just here for a short time. We're here for preparing for eternity. There's a long view perspective with private education.
And not just with, ideally someday looking forward to heaven, but it's also about, with the whole long view thing, about preparing our kids character-wise. And, there's so much more to success in life, I think, than just academics. And I think that that's one of the things that's supported so well by the teachers at Milton-Stateline is that longer view that goes so much broader than just the basics of learning to read and write and math and all that good stuff.
Did you have any trouble finding the school? We need to kind of orient those that might be dropping in on this broadcast. Where is Milton-Stateline School? Well, it's a bit obvious. It's somewhere between State Line Road and
Milton-Freewater. I think my husband figured it out, and then he told me where it was.
Well, who would like to go first? Where is the school? How would you even find this?
All right, the school is on Crockett Road to the west of Highway 11. on your way to Milton-Freewater. And the easiest way for most people to orient is you turn between the gas station and the RV supply store at Crockett Road. And the other thing, interesting thing about Crockett Road is it doesn't go in a straight line. It has two turns in it. And so
Crockett is crooked.
Yes,
No,
Crockett is crooked.
There is a couple of
so
turns.
You just go around the two turns and then you'll come to the school.
What I have observed by actually being there, that it's far enough away from both of the roads, the highly traveled roads, that you don't hear the traffic hardly at all.
No, it's a very quiet country setting. Farm country around it. The neighbors on two of the sides grow mostly alfalfa that the kids just the playfield overlooks, and then the other side is actually right now just blackberry brambles. As this time of the year is actually quite delicious.
Talk to us a little bit about the history of the school. How far back does the school go? Any insights on that?
At this current location, the school was opened, I believe it was about 56 years ago, if I remember correctly. Prior to that, it had operated down in Milton-Freewater, across from what is now City Hall, if I remember correctly. And so the school has been there for 56 years. And I actually attended there for half of my 6th grade year while we happened to live in the valley for a short time. And so I enjoyed my time there. And I had an aunt who taught there for many years, so I have been aware of the school since childhood.
Well, both of you are certainly invested as board chair, Larry, and you as home and school leader. Did you anticipate when you brought your son there? And what grade is he in, by the way?
He's going into 5th grade now.
And were you a bit surprised to be asked to take on this parent-school relationship, home and school experience?
I was a bit, and it's been a bit of a learning curve figuring out what home and school does and being involved. So basically what home and school does is they kind of coordinate some of the events throughout the year, whether they're fundraising events or kind of fun things for the school, activities for the students. And that's been a really good experience, and both of my kids have really enjoyed being involved with that because they get to help plan and have a say in what happens in the school. And they also, one of the fundraising projects that we did this last year, my son got very excited about. We were raising money for a new wireless microphone and felt very invested, and was actually saved up quite a bit of money on his own to give to that, and thought it was a really good cause and was really excited about what it would do for his school. So I think it's helped them feel a lot more invested in their school as well and feel like they have a say in what happens there.
What a great story, the connection between raising money and then seeing it now put into practice. And he probably has his eye on that microphone. He knows that's very significant in his life. He had a share in this experience. And you mentioned a couple of events that you fundraise, and maybe you could go through the events that the kids have that are outside of school hours, I imagine.
We have a talent show, which is kind of just a fun evening that has all different kids that do skits and songs and all kinds of stuff like that. And we usually do some kind of little fundraiser along with that where you can buy refreshments, and it goes towards some project that can help the school. This last year, I think we raised some money so that the school could have a supply of food for kids that accidentally forgot their lunch. It's kind of an important thing. And we have a Christmas concert that we do, and then there's our big event is a fair where there's all kinds of like carnival type booths where you can play games and have great food and just really have a fun time as a family. And that was fun to kind of plan the different games, trying to think of something for every age group. And this last year we did a prize booth where hopefully kids could get excited about some of the bigger prizes that we had available and work hard to try and win enough tickets to get some of those things. So that was really fun. And then we do a walkathon, which is probably the biggest fundraiser for the school during the year. And it was really fun to see how motivated. I tried to motivate each of the groups with giving them a certain goal of how far they should walk if they were in their class, and offered them that I'd buy them a small prize if they did that. And it was so funny because some of the kids, as I was out there walking and running with them, they would holler out to me, "Mrs. Weimer, I'm 3 laps away from getting Skittles." And they were just so excited about the fact that they had set a goal and they were working hard towards that. So it's been really fun to see. That's my big thing, is seeing the kids get excited about doing something for their school and being involved.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful survey of what you're anticipating again this year. You've been there, and every year is a bit different. New students enter. And talking about new students, Larry, what is the size of the school? It's obviously small, but give us an idea.
We're looking at about 83 students on campus, if everyone that has come and evinced interest actually is here on opening day. There's often get a few that say they are coming but don't show up at the last minute. But currently it's looking at 83 would be the enrollment to begin the year.
Well, Larry, it would be a challenge for you and the board to hire with anticipating this particular amount of students and having them apportioned to every grade in the right level, not too much or not too little. And you've committed to the teachers.
Yes.
And now we might even say, since it's a private Christian school, you're praying that they show up. And there's also quite a commitment to be in a private school.
Yes.
What are the sources of funding? How does this school even exist? We have maybe just before the break, we have just maybe 30 to 40 seconds.
There's a number of churches in the valley that actively support the church with giving every month, and then the parents, of course, pay a tuition, and we do some of the fundraisers that have been mentioned. There's a number of people that have donated over the years to a worthy student fund to help those families who don't have enough money.
Maybe we'll touch on that second half. That's a huge area, huge need, from what I understand. And one of the reasons why you and Heather are here is to encourage perhaps even some of our viewing family to maybe be benefactors for students attending the school.
Yeah, we can talk about that after the break.
We'll be right back with Heather and Larry, and I believe, will have another guest second half. So stay by. We'll be right back.
Clear.
I'm talking about Milton-Stateline School, the Adventist School on Crockett Road, and we have Heather Weimer and her daughter Larissa and Larry Goodhue as the board chair of the school. And Larissa, welcome to our table. We're talking about the school. We're just asking, what do you remember about last year, and what are you anticipating from this year? You have the same teacher, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you glad about that?
Yeah.
You'd like a repeat of some of those items that you possibly have told your mom about?
What do you like about your teacher?
She's nice and she does fun crafts, and she has like Christmas parties when it's before Christmas break, and she's a really nice teacher.
Would you also say that Larissa is giving the proper accounting of the teacher from your standpoint as a parent?
She is. I have loved all the teachers we've run into at the school so far, the teachers that both my kids have had. And not only has Larissa done really well academically, but she just loves school to the point where she misses her teacher on the weekend, which I think is a pretty good sign that school is going pretty well.
No jealousy, of course, from parents.
No, because I think anytime you can get someone who is echoing a lot of those same things that you want your kids to learn and being a good voice into your kids' life, I mean, I think the more positive influences your kids can have in their life, the better. So I'm very thrilled.
Extending that base of influence beyond
Absolutely.
the home and moving it into the school and with friends too that resonate, that really, really help the kid.
And every once in a while your child will come back and they'll tell you something that someone else told them, and they'll act like it's a big surprise and, oh my goodness, Mom, did you know this? And it might be something that you've been telling them for like 5 years and it never sunk in. But because somebody else said it, it did sink in, and I'm just thrilled that finally it sunk in, whether that was the teacher or whoever else. So yeah, those influences are so important.
And it often takes various angles for the sinking in to take place. It's just not just one person's approach or mom and dad, but the teacher, peers.
I think that's kind of where that old saying about it takes a village to raise children, and I think especially in a Christian community, this part of the school is kind of helping be part of that village for us.
I've been an advocate of positive peer pressure.
Absolutely.
When the peers are positive, the friendship issues are huge relational aspects with kids, aren't they, Larry?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Larry, what does it, maybe I could even ask Heather about this, but maybe how much does it take for Larissa and Ryan and other kids to go to the Milton-Stateline School, at least to be able to pay the teachers there and the staff?
Right.
What does it take
Tuition is about $450 a month total, and that includes the entrance fees and the like. So about $4,500 for the year. And not everyone, of course, can afford that. Especially lately, we've had a number of single parents who have been moving into the valley and wanting to get their kids into a Christian school, but as they're trying to rebuild their lives, they're lacking the funds at this particular time. And so our school has invited them to go ahead and come and to register, and we are busy attempting to find sponsors for some of these children whose parents currently are unable to pay the tuition for them.
So that worthy student fund is how easily accessed would it be if a person that is watching that would like to send a child anywhere? We're all the way from, what is it, preschool
to 8th grade, yeah.
And if they are maybe impressed that they ought to maybe join this benefactor sponsoring, how would they get in contact with you?
If they wanted to just call either myself or the school, either one of us can help get that information to them. Our secretary, Barbara, at the school is very helpful, and I'm always ready to be helpful as well.
And if they call and they get a recorded message, and if it's off of hours, they can call you.
Back. Yeah, or they can call me.
They can call you.
Yes.
And you, when I contacted you about this interview, you were putting up some assets for some classroom. Talk to us about what you were doing.
Oh, as the board chair, one of the things I have taken on many times lately is to do many maintenance items around the school over the summer. And so I've been adding some shelving to some of the classrooms that teachers have requested. I go around before school starts and make sure all the light fixtures are lit properly, don't need bulbs changed, just lots of what I call busy work, things that need done for the school to function, and that isn't anybody's, quote, job in general. We don't have a full-time maintenance person, of course. We just have parents and in my case, the board chair who volunteer their time. We've had many parents over the years who have volunteered to do maintenance, and of course Heather is here as a volunteer who puts in a lot of time to organize our home and school. So many volunteers it takes to make a school like ours function.
And perhaps are there other volunteer aspects of the school?
We have several little bit older folk who come in with a program that's called, see if I can remember the name of it, Reading Grandparents. I don't think it's reading. It's some kind of grandparents program. Anyway, where they're actually paid a stipend by the state for volunteering at a school and helping children with reading and math, those that are struggling perhaps. And so they'll come, they'll sit with the child and listen to them read, help them figure out the words, help them with their math. And we have a couple of people doing that right now at our school, and they'll be back again this year.
Are there positions such as that? More opportunities for that?
Certainly, there's 4 rooms with the first through 8th grades, 2 grades to a room, plus a preschool kindergarten room, and with only currently 2 of them, obviously we could use several more to help in other rooms.
And so there is so much interest by even the government to make sure that every kid has an opportunity to be where they need to be, that they're willing to even chip in and subsidize this particular position.
Yes.
And any other volunteer opportunities that somebody could call you about?
Yeah, certainly. For instance, we have over the years we've had a number of people who have volunteered to do specific maintenance items at the school. We have a long-term volunteer right now who takes care of all the outside, making sure our grounds are watered and mowed. He has been doing that for years now, just on a volunteer basis. Wonderful help to the school. So the principal doesn't have to worry about whether that's getting taken care of. He just makes sure it's done. So there are always opportunities for volunteering at the school.
Heather, are you prepared? Probably I didn't ask you to talk about the music options for Larissa or Ryan. Are they doing any music at the school?
They do. All the kids at the school do music, and a fun, wide variety of things. Song flutes, which I guess, I don't know, they were called recorders when I was growing up, but all different kinds of little instruments that the kids start to play from a really early age. And then beginning band starts, I believe, in 5th and 6th grade. And then there's an advanced band for the 7th and 8th graders. So there's really quite a lot of music opportunities, which I think is really fun, and the kids really enjoy that.
And choir as well.
And choir, absolutely. Yes.
Well, I know the board, from what I remember, that the board has chosen a music program, and it's going to be a kind of a new perspective, a new music teacher. Is that?
Yes, we have a new music teacher coming in this year. She has served previously at one of the other schools in the valley, but was our music program is a part-time position, which is what she was looking for while she goes back to school to get her master's.
Well, we have just a minute or two. Larissa, were there any stories that you wanted to share, talk to me or your mom or Larry about?
No.
Okay, you're just anticipating going to 2nd grade this year. Same teacher, more crafts. That's wonderful. That is a wonderful aspect about school. And Larry, would you like to challenge our audience about being a benefactor or a sponsor of a child, or contacting you again?
Certainly, because this year we have a larger need than we've had in any previous year for sponsors for students. We really could use sponsors for 21 students this year.
Wow. Yes,
and we currently have sponsors for 13 of those. So we're still needing a few sponsors to get the rest of these children into Christian education at our school.
Well, and from a parent's perspective, I think the school could use a few more students this year too. So if there's parents out there who are looking for a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful place to send their kids, I think it's definitely worth looking into Milton-Stateline.
Well, thank you very much for coming on Valley Viewpoint, especially you, Larissa. Appreciate you coming on and talking about your experience Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Larissa and Larry, for joining us on Valley View Point. And if you would like to, if you'd like to contribute in any way, volunteering, or maybe some of your resources, maybe you are just sensing this is something that you'd like to do with your investments, to invest in a child this coming year. Larry's phone number is 509-200-1355. Thank you for joining us on Valley View Point. I'm Roger Johnson.